Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Agents of Miami. My name is Donald.
And my name is Bill, and today we're talking about closings, all the aspects of what goes into that final closing.
So make sure that if you like this video, you ring the bell at the bottom of the page, or you can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook, because you don't want to miss any of our videos. And make sure you invite your friends too. I'm Donald.
And I'm Bill.
And we're the Real Estate Agents of Miami.
After 28 years of experience in real estate, we've really seen it all. We've been in rooms at closing where two different groups were sitting at the same table and they had to be separated. I've ever been in closing when someone was in the bathroom crying. That was my closing. That was me back in the day. So we've seen it all. Closings happen different now. They're virtual, or typically they take place the seller does it one day and the buyer does it another.
But we're going to talk about the way things are traditionally done in Southeast Florida, which is Broward and Dade County primarily. You're going to notice as you go from region to region, the customs are completely different. So make sure you ask your realtor to give you guidance on how these fees are allocated. Some of the biggest expenses you're going to run across are title insurance is the biggest one. In South Florida, once again, the buyer pays for title insurance. Title insurance is basically an insurance policy to make sure if there were any errors made in previous sales of the property, that the people who weren't included in that chain of title can't come back and try to take the house away from you.
So if Aunt Bertha from 2 generations ago all of a sudden appears with a ownership certificate for your house, the title insurance will cover it. And they cover, you have the owner's policy, and the lender's, if you have a mortgage, has a lender policy as well.
Of course. You're also going to pay several taxes. If you have a mortgage, you're going to pay what's called an intangible tax on the mortgage. Also, you're going to pay doc stamps on the mortgage. All these are paid to the state of Florida. If you're a seller, then you're going to pay doc stamps on the deed. And so all those things go to Florida as well.
Other things that are on the closing disclosure as well are prorations and escrows. Prorations are from the period of time, like if taxes are collected, let's say you close in June, taxes are collected from January to June and paid by the seller, and then from there they're paid by the buyer.
Yeah, the seller basically is going to reimburse the buyer, because what's going to happen at the end of the year, the buyer's going to get the tax bill for the whole year, so you want to make sure the seller's already paid their part at closing.
Yeah, and so that's prorations. And escrows are like, let's say every property has to have insurance, especially, if you have a mortgage, you have to have insurance. So typically they escrow upfront the mortgage, the payment for that as well, and also several months of escrows for the lender. Usually 3 months is what they do.
Because in most of those cases, when you have a loan, the lender is actually going to pay those bills for you when they come at the end of the year. So it's basically like a savings account is a way to talk about escrows. And then you also have the prorations if you have maintenance fees. If you happen to have maintenance fees, then the buyer's going to pay, or the seller's going to pay their share of the maintenance fees, and the buyer pays their share of the maintenance fees. Because everything is prorated down to the date of closing.
And then there's some things that may kick over and be things that need to be credited, and kept into escrow as well. So let's say there's some repairs on the property. Sometimes those things are put on there as well into escrow.
Of course, anything that has to happen after closing that the seller is responsible for, a lot of times that money's held in escrow as well. You're also going to run into a lot of miscellaneous fees. And we see new fees every day. But some of the basic ones you're going to run into are going to be courier fees, overnight fees, recording fees, doc preparation fees. You're going to have an appraisal fee listed on the closing disclosure as well. You can also have electronic doc storage fees. In addition to that, the limit of fees is limitless. I mean, they just keep going and going, and we see something new all the time.
There's a fee on a fee sometimes.
The good thing that's going to happen is once you go into your mortgage and you've applied for it, within 3 days, your lender is required by law to give you a truth in lending disclosure. And they're going to talk to the closing agent prior to doing this and going to give you a much more accurate estimate of what your real fees are going to be. the lender fees go on there too. And it's hard for us to tell you what the lender fees are because they're different from lender to lender, from product to product, from customer to customer.
So yeah, there's a lot that goes into this. Closing disclosures will outline everything. There's one for the buyer and there's one for the seller. And once the actual process has occurred, you've signed your documents, then the closing agent disperses money to everyone, and it's your house. You got it. And the seller can go, yoo-hoo, I can go out and party now.
But this is all done in the interest to make sure that the buyer is getting the home free and clear and making sure the seller is getting all the money that's owed to them. So at the end of the day, it's worth it. This is like your closing agent is your person of confidence. They're the ones that make sure everyone gets paid and everything is done properly. And if you don't understand anything, make sure you ask questions.
Yeah, so this is just a general overview of fees and things on the thing. This is where you need your realtor and you need your mortgage broker and your closing agent to help you through the details of this as well. All right, so that's going to wrap up our segment on closings today.
Make sure if you like the show and you don't want to miss the next one, go to the bottom and ring the bell to follow our channel. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram as well. Bye guys, have a good day.
See ya.